Hello everyone and welcome to another one of my driving instruction slash bragging about hot lap videos. This time we are going to do the big one. This is Nürburgring Nordschleife. It is called the Green Hell, the one that destroys drivers and the one that also destroys your frames per second and your computer and makes you wanna think that makes you wanna wish that you bought a better processor. Alright, let's without further ado go right to the driving without another half an hour introduction. So let's go right to my view right now and let's go around this lap here, part by part. Now, I apologize in advance for my language, not for profanities, although there might be some, but more for the part that I am not a native English speaker, and as such, I may have some mispronunciations, some weird phrases that I use, and I'm trying to speak slower than I speak normally, but it might not come quite clear. I will do subtitles, but this is going to be a long, and I mean a long video, so I don't think I'll be bothered. Plus, I don't exactly know how. So, let's go right down the driving part. This is Lotus 79, and the footage is from an old Bastards race, raced earlier tonight or yesterday, if we're accurate, Friday evening. This is lap 5 that I'm going to show you out of a 7-lap race. So it's the same length as an official race, but this is my best lap from the race, so I'm gonna show you that one. And, well, let's start from the first corner, the main straight and the first corner, okay? As you can see here, stop here, I'm approaching the first corner. Let's take a little bit back and I'll show you what I mean. The first corner is one of the most difficult places on this track. Why? Because you're not really thinking when you come into the first corner. You're maybe looking at your lap time, you're looking at the relative, you're looking at someone else's lap time, but in general you're not thinking about how to drive it fast. Many people take it either too slowly or miss the braking point and go in too fast. It's a really bumpy place, it's a downhill braking zone, and it's difficult for two main reasons. One, the reasons I just mentioned. Downhill braking, really bumpy, hard braking zone, surprisingly tight of a corner, and you're not thinking, so it kills your concentration. And the second part is more related to the software, in the sense that you tend to get quite a lot of stuttering whether you're in a practice session or a race session. In a practice session, down here on the right hand side, you might see a lot of cars on the track or on the pit lane. Somebody may be coming out of pit lane, waiting for you to pass by on the pit exit, which is a nice thing to do. Not waiting, not really a nice thing to do. And once you come out of the corner, there's a lot of objects in there, and once you come out of the corner, which we'll be doing soonish, you will see all the buildings all the way to the GP tracker and beyond if you have far terrain enabled. So it really takes a toll on your computer, it really takes a toll on your hardware as well as your software. You'll be seeing the page fault meter rise, you'll be seeing the FPS meter drop, a lot of stuttering in general. So it's, in my opinion, actually, and perhaps a little surprisingly, one of the most difficult plays on this track. Let's see how I tackle it. I'm braking. On the right hand side you'll see a hole in the wall, and at this time I'm swearing that I have to put the Fraps push to talk button on my keyboard because now I have to be on a really acrobatic position. But anyway, on the right hand side you'll see what I'm circling right now. There is the Armco barrier. And at that Armco barrier there's a little bit of a gap when it turns from a slightly higher one to a slightly lower one. Behold, a braking spot. Do not use the orange bar as your braking spot, it's way too late. And when you go further back, many people tend to use the end of the white wall as their braking spot or not use one at all. But I personally prefer that one. So you can see here, I'm approaching the braking zone. And I put on the brakes right as I reach that gap. You can see it here, look. And it's not a hard braking zone, really. It's a hard braking zone theoretically, but not practically, because as we see here in the slow motion, you really just can't brake that much or you go wide. Cut the apex nicely. It's a bit of a double apex, as many corners in this track are, you'll be sliding really wide, really easily. So just let it slide wide. Don't hit the curbs, as in general in the Nordschleife. Do not hit the curbs. And exit, and away we go. This next corner is quite straightforward. It's the type of corner where you can really cut it, in a sense that you can just go flat out. And you can cut to the inside quite soon. It's quite important to keep a good line as always, but you don't have to cut right to the left hand side if you're too scared to do it. So just, keep it flat out, cut as close to the curb as possible, and do not be afraid to use the exit curb, because it will not, in this case, kill you, because there is no real exit curb. It's more of an extension of the track in a sense. So do not be afraid to use it. It's quite easy to do flat out, or you can do a little lift if you want to. Let's see how it goes. Flat out, let's stop here. And on the left hand side, you can see the exit curve that I'm talking about. It actually extends almost all the way to the wall, so you don't have to be afraid of it like that. Okay, next two corners and the next bit I'm just gonna go by quickly, because I think everybody should at least know the starting part of this track quite well, because it's where you start from. It's where most of people end up crashing quite a few times, so they will end up doing more repetition. It's just natural that people know the start of the track better than the end of the track. So here you come with fourth gear, braking the third, braking the second, and just really pussyfoot it a little bit here. You're not really all the way, as I stopped here, you're not really all the way on the throttle. You're lifting a little bit. You'll be doing a lot of micro corrections, a lot of steering wheel corrections. Just keep a smooth line, keep a good line, and go as fast as possible like always. Here I shift down to second on that right hander, and then just kind of coast through it to the left hander and early on the throttle. Like that. And do not use the exit curb here. And this right here, Hoheichen, I think, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, around the 3 kilometer marker, as you can see here, is one of the most important corners of the track. Why? Because, as we will see soon, the speed that you pick up on the exit of this corner will carry you more or less all the way to Schwedenkreuz and Arnberg. That's 2 kilometers of track that you will have to cover on this exit, because the next 2 kilometers will be flat out. So you drop down to second. You can cut the curb actually here a little bit. It's a bit unsettled, but I do it anyway because I kind of found out that it's acceptable to do, in a sense that it won't kill you. You can see my right hand tires are on the curbing right now. And once you exit that curbing, you can see that actually the color of the tarmac changing. You just cut to the inside and go full throttle here. You can see it's a downhill turn. Many people brake here. I don't know why, but they brake here. Maybe they're not sure about the corner or something. But you can just go flat out through here. Take a bit of the exit curve if you want to. It won't kill you, and then just flat out, all the way through Flugplatz and beyond, flat out. Now, as I say flat out, you will see soon on my throttle marker that I'll be lifting a little bit. Actually, right here. I was afraid it was going to go wide and it was a race situation. It was a micro lift and didn't really cost me any time, but usually that's just flat out. It might get a bit of loose between the two right-handers, but it should be fine. This one too, Schwedenkreuz, flat out, flow the inside and then stop here. The color of the tarmac changes again, and this is an excellent brake marker. You can see here, as we go a little bit back, you can see even better. The color of the tarmac changes. It goes to from slightly newer to slightly older tarmac. The curb ends on the left, and this is your braking spot. I usually brake around half a car length to a car length after it, but in general at this point I know that the Schwedenkreuz corner is over and I should be preparing to brake for the next one, Arnberg. So I do it here from 265 kilometers per hour to around 130 or 120 rather in a moment. Switch down to second and just kinda coast, half coast, blip the throttle your way, keep it to the inside and exit here. Now, What is really important about this bridge corner, as many people call it, although it's not a real bridge corner, that will be Antonio's Bicca right in the end. But what is important about this corner is that you can use the exit curb if you want to, but it's really dangerous and it's not of any use. But if you're on the full throttle and you find yourself going towards that exit curb on the left, do not be afraid to take it, but be sure that your wheel is straight when you take it and not to go too far into it. So it's kind of an insurance in there. So do not lift if you're going towards it unless you're really sure that you won't make it. Now here we go flat out as well. Flat out through the downhill crests, flat out through these corners, and flat out all the way to here. We come through the foxhole, the Fuchsröhre. And this is a really famous corner, and you have to really be brave here, because many people start braking here at the marking on the right. That is not what you should do. Instead, keep it on fifth, lift a little bit, and brake after you made it to the corner, like this. Here, you drop down to third, and this is where I stop, because you drop down to third, and this is where many people make mistakes. Me, along with it. I've made a lot of mistakes in this corner, the Adenauer Forest, and you have to just keep it in third through here, then wait again, completely miss the apex on the left right now, and instead brake in a straight line to first gear, take a good line, keep it in first, take a good line and exit. But remember, on this exit, do not take the curb on the left. I've taken it so many times that in TeamSpeak, in our Club Finland TeamSpeak, they started calling this the Puhakka corner. And I'm not surprised. Because really I made a ton of mistakes here, but this time I made it quite fine. You'll be exiting on first gear, going down to second and third and so on. And going from Adenauer Forest towards Metkisfeld. And really just, flooring it right now. But first, let's pause here and take a look at the first and second sectors of the track, but what I call the first part of this video. And let's take a look at them in full speed. Alright, now that we looked through the first part of the track, hopefully, most of you know how to tackle that part. We are now at the 7 kilometer board, right after the Adenauer Forest, which is first 5 kilometers of the actual Nordschleife part of the track. Because those boards, of course, are Touristenfahrten boards, not the Industriefahrten boards. Okay, so let's look at the second part of the track right now, going from Adenauer Forest all the way to Bergwerk. Now, the important thing to remember about this part of the track is that this is now where you'll be going through the first fast sectors. You have gone through them, you'll be thinking, okay, here's a bit of time to relax, take a breather, and think about how I tackle the rest of the lap. And this is also where I should mention that I've seen a lot of lap times going from ranging from 608, 609 all the way to 620s and even some 630s. Now, I'd said 20s and 30s, not 20s and 13s. This means people are losing 5, 10, 15, even 20 seconds a lap here. This might seem mind-blowing at first, but it's a 20.8 kilometer track, or 22.8 according to iRacing, and it's a 22.8 kilometer track. The lap times are over 6 minutes, so if you lose 1/10 per corner, and there is 154 corners in here, and losing 1/10 in a corner is really easy. You just need to brake a little bit too much, go on the throttle a little bit too much, having to lift on the exit, boom, 1/10 lost, even 2/10, 3/10. It adds up. If you lose 1/10 in each corner, it adds up to 15 seconds at the end of the lap. Think about that for a second. This is why it's important not only to go through the track, but go through the track fast as possible, be brave in certain spots. This is a ground effect car, so it really likes when you go fast. There are certain places where you can go flat out or almost flat out, and many people break down to fourth, even third gear and lose second or over a second in those places, and it really adds up. So this is why I'm also doing this video, to help people get closer to each other, have better racing, and in general just to help the community. So without further ado, let's look at the next part. We're going in a straight line, exiting Adenauer Forst, all the way going down to Medgesfeld. This is a part where I want to talk about. Let's go slowly a little bit forward. And this is one of those places where many people brake too much. This, the first corner, is a 5th gear corner, believe it or not. Lift a little bit, as you can see, and just go all the way to 5th gear and go through the corner really fast, or almost to doing 250 kilometers per hour. And the braking spot to next one becomes a bit of an issue now that you go so fast through the corner. But I use the curbing or the extension of the track on the left, on the right hand side. You can see it ends here, and this is where I start lifting and braking. All the way to 2nd gear, hold it tight to the inside, and then you turn to the right, go into 3rd gear, and this is also where you can go faster than you think, and at the same time you have to go slower than you think. Let me explain. There is a lot of exit room in the corner before Kallenhard, but it's also a bit of a surprising one in a sense that if you go a little bit too fast, you can go really wide really quickly and the wall is right there, and you don't want to make a mistake here. Kallenhard, as you can see, the hairpin to the right, it's a downhill braking spot, and it's really easy to go wide there. You just have to brake early, go to the 2nd gear, and don't go wide. It's a double apex corner, believe it or not, and aim for the 2nd apex and then just on the throttle on the exit and use the curb on the left if you want to. It's not faster, but I personally prefer to actually use it because I usually go a bit too early on the throttle and go a little bit wide on the exit, and that's why I use the curb. But you have to be really careful with it because it bottoms out really easily. So it's one of those things that you can either take the corner properly or slack a little bit and use the curb and risk yourself. But it won't kill you, but it's just really twitchy on the exit. So it's need good car control. Now let's see how I tackled using the curb. As you can see here, I'm going onto the curb. Here, you can see the car is on the curb, bouncing around, keep the wheel straight, and exiting the curb, do a little bit of a flick to the left, so it won't go to the right, and then exit the curb. And then the left-right chicane, going to the miss corner. So the left-right chicane, you have to lift. It would go flat out otherwise, but there are so many bumps on the first left-hander that you have to lift, but keep it in forward and go on the throttle early on the exit and be brave, because you will be tracking out to the left. It won't hurt you, and it goes straight to the triple apex right-hander right here. And this is what they call in professional circles or in racing driver circles, this is what they call the miss corner, because you miss the first apex, you hit the 2nd apex, and you miss the 3rd apex. But in the Lotus 79, I found that the more effective method, or at least for me the safer method, is hit miss. So you hit the first apex, hit the 2nd apex, so you keep it tight for the first part of the corner, and then you miss the third apex. Let's see how I do it. Hit, miss. There we go. And from there, we're going right to the Versefen corner, I think. Heading before X-Mule. So I'm sorry if I take some of these corner names wrong. I have track map on my right, but it's not exactly the most accurate track map out there because it won't have every corner name, and I don't remember the corner names by heart, so bear with me. Let's go to this corner, 4th gear, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. Yes, you have to take it with 1st gear. Once again, it's a bit of a double apex, it's a bit of a hairpin, there is a lot of camber, and it goes downhill, so it's need to keep it to the inside. You can slide a little bit here, it won't hurt you, and early on the throttle, and try to take the right-hander with as much speed as possible. Like seen here. And then the second one, this is 2nd gear corner, 1st gear corner. And again, going really well and towards X-Mule. Now, let's take a little bit back, because we're going quite quickly, so I want to talk about a couple of braking spots. Especially the braking spot to this one. The braking spot to the first one, the first of the tight left-handers, is quite straightforward, because you have to brake quite late, but not too late, and you have to brake for the right-hander first, and then the braking for the left-hander is kinda, there is no set braking spot for it. Instead, I just go how I feel. But for the second one, I brake when the curb ends on the right. Here. To the brakes, hard braking, really hard braking, and turn in early, and avoid going too far to the right. And you'll get a nice smooth line. Again, back to the left for X-Mule. Now, let's take a look at that sector before heading to X-Mule and Bergwerk sector. Because these next corners, Bergwerk and X-Mule, are somewhat similar, and I want to talk about them separately in length. So let's take a look at that sector first. Okay, we have now exited that corner and that sector. I hope you liked driving. You can notice I'm a bit loose on a couple of spots. In a sense that I use a lot of oversteer and throttle control and steering inputs to keep the car on a good line. Now, this is not as risky as it feels or sounds, because if you try to go to the limit, you will find the limit and you'll be safer on the limit than going way beyond the limit or way below the limit rather. So don't be afraid to try your limits on this track. Try to go faster and faster once you get used to the track. This is why I'm doing this on a full speed race lap, and I usually try to do my races quite fast. I try to keep a good steady rhythm, because if I try to go too slow, I usually find that I'm making more mistakes that way. And also, hopefully this helps someone to not be 10 seconds off the pace or 20 seconds off the pace, which is even worse. I have nothing against people who are slower, but you know, it's better for everyone if the level of the playing field is more equal, so to speak. Now, X-Mule. This is a very difficult corner, which is what we are heading to right now, because you have to brake quite little. You have to be on the throttle early, because it's an uphill corner, so there is really a lot of grip, but the exit is really bumpy. So you can either take it with a second gear or third gear. I prefer third gear, but it gets really bumpy on the exit, as you can see here. You can just hear it. Okay, that's the car and the engine. The car is just bumping, the back end is struggling for the grip. So what you want to do here, and a little bit of trick, look at my throttle and the way I use the steering. I coast to the entry of the corner and normally go to the throttle, but just try to keep as much throttle as possible and keep it on a straight line and not use all of the tracks. A little bit of room to play with here, and I'm still early on the throttle, so I'm not losing time either. Now we go to the corner where Niki Lauda had his terrible accident, the corner just before Bergwerk. This is a flat out one, rather straightforward, and 10 Bergwerk. You want to brake on the sign, the Yokohama sign, or just before the Yokohama sign, on the right hand side. Use that as your braking spot, brake to the second gear, and wait, and then go on the throttle really early. You want to be on the throttle early because you'll be carrying the speed once again through several kilometers of the track. And from here, it's just easy sailing, flat out, don't lift. Just in this sector, remember, don't lift in any of the spots. So just try to keep it on a smooth line, on a straight line. And now you're coming to the fast corners, the left-hander and the right-hander. This is a bit of a tricky one. You can lift, or you can go without lifting. You can go full throttle, sure, but it might be a bit of a risk on race fuel. So you can lift a little bit and it won't hurt you that much. But you want to use all the extension on the right, but not too much, so not to hit the grass. This is where many people lose time. Don't cut, just aim for the curb and go for it. It will go a bit wide, but you will notice that even though it looked like I was understeering wide, at around this spot, it looks like I'm understeering wide, but I'm tracking right to the extension of the track. Taking it and then just full throttle over the hump here and full throttle here. It will really stay in a smooth line quite easily, so it's not that difficult. Just be brave and try it. Do not be afraid, just try it. Try to test your limits, because many people, as I said, lose time, way too much time on the fast corners. Now, the right-hander, the hairpin before carousel. Brake just before the curb starts on the left. You will have some speed disorientation here. Maybe some, you've just gone flat out through many corners. In a fast sector, uphill sector, you'll be thinking, okay, when is the braking spot? And then you miss the braking spot. Don't do that. You're braking from 5th all the way to 2nd, or as I do here, 1st. And there are two ways of tackling this corner. Neither of them are wrong and neither of them are exactly right either. Both of them are right, but not exactly. So there is not one real, key to this corner. I prefer the hug the inside line. Might be optimal a little bit slower, but I don't like to track wide here. So track to the inside, coast, keep a little bit of throttle just to keep the car smoothly sailing over these bumps. And try to go on the throttle as early as possible because the corner opens and you'll need a good run to carousel. So on the throttle here, and then going to the carousel. Now, this is a legendary corner. Everyone knows the carousel, even if they don't know anything else about this track. So, how do you tackle the carousel? Okay, the what's the word for it? The camber on the corner is really hard to tackle right. There is the concrete extension, and then the part to the right which you do not want to take. You want to take the concrete naturally, but how do you keep the car on the concrete? And how do you tackle this corner safely? It's not exactly somewhere you want to make a mistake, because it's not an overtaking position. It's not one where you try to win or lose time, but how do you take it consistently and fast? Here's the trick. Aim for the second extension of the curb here. You can see the curb comes closer to you here, then it goes away from you, then it comes closer, and once it comes closer, apexing the curb, you have to brake here. Brake to the second gear or first gear. I use second gear. And aim for the inside. Don't be afraid when the car bottoms out here. Just aim for the inside and keep it, playing with the throttle, playing with the steering input. And lift and throttle. Do not let it slide over, and early on the throttle here, aim to the right and do not hit that curb here. You don't want to hit the curb on the right hand side on the exit. I happened to spin my car in the last lap of the race from a 20-second lead when I hit that curb. I almost lost the race as a result. So you don't want to hit that curb there. Just keep it smooth, keep it steady. You want to be at around 100 kilometers an hour to the corner. As you can see, my speed is 120 entering the corner, and then just keep it 100, 100, 100, 100. And accelerate when you can see the exit of the corner. So when you can see the curb stopping, or the extension stopping, it feels like the corner will never end, but once you can see it ending, you can go on the throttle. Just don't go on the throttle to exit, you want to keep it all the way to the inside as long as possible. So you don't want to cheat here. Okay, we have exited that smoothly, and on the exit of that curb, we'll take a look at that sector once again at full speed. I want to talk about the next sector, which is a really important one, so stay tuned. Okay, we have done that sector all the way to Carousel. Now, what we need to do is tackle the next sector. From Carousel all the way to through Flamskarten, Galgenkopf, Mini Carousel, all those places, and the rest of the lap. Now, many people, myself included, when they're learning this track, they know the track quite well all the way to Carousel. The rest of the track is kinda empty. You know, you have bit of gaps in your knowledge, you don't take it all the way to the limit, and this is where I gain most of my time. Because I've learned these corners, and I will now teach you these corners too. So, first, coming through the carousel, in the short straight, you see these menaces, this intimidating looking left-hander all the way up to the hill, and you just want to brake on the curb on the right. Correct? You wanna brake there, right? Don't. Go flat out. Look. Smooth sailing. Now, keep it on fourth gear here. Lift a little bit, and then switch to third at the middle of the corner. Going nicely up the hill. Now, this is that chicane is where most of the people brake too much. And then they come over the hill, switch to second here for some reason, and really treat it as a tighter corner than it is. Because most of the people, they don't know the track. So instead you wanna keep it on third, keep it on the inside, and go on the throttle on the exit, because the track kind of widens here, or it feels like it widens. So you just wanna be brave and keep as much speed and momentum going as possible, and important, be early on the throttle, because it's faster than you think and you can really gain a lot of time on your opponents here. Now, keep fourth gear to the next three corners, including the first one, which is flat out, believe it or not. It's a flat out corner here. Well, it's not really flat out, I lift on the exit, but you can enter it flat out anyway. Keep it on fourth here. Keep it quite tight on the entry, and just cut it here, here. Look, fourth gear, 200 kilometers per hour, and you can really gain a lot of time here, because most of the people start braking here. I did it at the start too. I shifted to third, and again to third here, and didn't really believe that I can go through these corners faster, but when you look at them, when you don't think you're in Nordschleife but in your track, they are not really that difficult. You can just keep it on a smooth line and gain a lot of time. And I want to talk about these curbs here. The curb you see on the left, here, You can take it if you want, but I don't take it. Instead, the curb on the right that you can see here, you can take it. And it's not really that much slower if you take it. Of course, better to keep it on a good line, but if you want to, you can take that corner, the Whipperman, before Whipperman, and you can just, you know, take the curb. I don't, but I aim for it. So it's kind of like the corner before Fuchsröhre, after Fuchsröhre, in that sense, that I talk about in the first part of this video. In a sense that you can take the curb if you want to, but don't take it too much. Okay, and then just full throttle on the exit and go downhill towards the Whipperman corner. Now, this is somewhere that also many drivers will slow down to second gear and really treat it with more respect. Every corner deserves respect, but treat it with more respect and take it more carefully than it should be taken. Instead, take it with third gear and the track disappears here. And you can just see the fence. You can use that as a line to see where the track is going. Use that fence and it looks really tight, but really you want to keep it on third gear and be on the throttle early because the corner opens up, as you can see here, and there's an extension which is almost the width of a Lotus 79 on the left here. Use that extension. So you can see I'm all the way to the left hand side of the track right now, doing 185, and I've gained about half a second in that corner on most of my opponents. So that's the way you should tackle that one. Then next one. This is quite a difficult one because you want to brake to the second instinctively, and it's maybe faster on the second gear, but I find that I'm getting a bit way too loose on the second gear, and so I take it on third. And once again, it's a fast corner and it sets you up for the next double right-hander, which is where you also brake a little bit. And this is what I want to talk about. Use a lot of curb on the exit because this is one of the very few smooth curbs on this track, so you want to use a lot of it. But, word of warning, if you use it, it's not exactly the curb with most grip out there. Because it leans to the left slightly. It's really hard to see the camber, but it's actually cambered away from the track. Away from the center of the track. So it's really loose, but you want to use it either way because you'll be going full throttle anyway, right? And also you can use it to set yourself up better for the next uphill right-hander, also wider than you think, as you can see. And you have a lot of extension to the track before the curb, so you just want to use that extension of the track. And then this left-hander. Now this is a tricky one, because you have just tackled through many corners that are faster than you think, and you get frustrated. You get to think that, okay, that was faster than I thought, that was faster than I thought, that was faster than I thought, and you're seeing red on your delta bar, you see your opponent in front of you or getting away, the opponent behind you catching you, and you think, okay, this is where I'm gonna gain time. For the love of God, do not do that. Why? Because as you can see, it starts out as very straightforward corner. You think, okay, that's a fast bend. It's almost a flat bend. It isn't. This is the only one of these bends I actually use second gear in. Tightens towards the exit, and it's really longer than you think, and you want to be on the throttle early because it's uphill, and then turns once again to downhill, and you come towards the hump. And the hump of Flanskarten is somewhat of a tricky one, somewhat of a legendary one, because it's one of those spots where you'll be flying once again. You won't be flying on Flugplatz in this car, but you'll be flying here. So that intimidates you, and people want to lift before the hump. Don't lift before the hump. Instead, fourth gear, full throttle, and once you're settled down nice and smooth, brake a little bit and use the inside, and you can take it with fourth gear over 200 kilometers per hour, and you can really gain a lot of time there. Just don't go too fast in there, although I must say that the corner is somewhat more forgiving than it looks at first, because the bump won't unsettle the car that much, even though you're in the air. And even if you miss it somewhat, even if you think, okay, this corner is really fast, and you go in there too fast, you can still save it. I actually did that mistake once in this race. And next we come over the curb, over the hump, and not over the curb, which is something you don't want to do, into the backman corner. This is what we call backman corner because he turned in too early, like 3 or 4 times when we were practicing the track. But anyway, you turn left and you turn blindly into and there is the curb. You can see it on the left hand side of the track. And you will be hitting that curb so many times when you practice this track, and it's really annoying because it is right at the end of the track. And if you hit that curb, you'll be on the wall. Okay, so do not hit the curb. Instead, use reference points here, because it's a blind corner, you will have to use reference points. So you can see here that you know the track is gonna turn, because you will see, of course, trees and woods ahead of you. So you know it cannot go there, and you see the opening there. So you wanna use reference points, and one good reference point, even at speed, is that curb on the left. Do not aim for it. Instead, go over the hump, start turning right after the hump, like in Bathurst, and just follow the curb. Nice and smooth along the curb. Lift a little bit. You can maybe take it almost full throttle, but I'm quite careful at this corner. It's the one of the few places where I'm really careful in, because it's just not worth the risk. So go in here full throttle, and once again downhill and over the hump. This is a really difficult place, and you want a short shift. You want a short shift to 5th gear before going over the hump. And keep the wheel straight. You can see it there, me lifting. Keep the wheel straight through here. I actually hit the curb a little bit there. So keep the wheel straight, and once the car settles down, you can just go full throttle towards the middle. Then we come to the right-hander and the left-hander before the mini carousel. Now, these are called the Schwalbenschwanz, or rather the Schwalbenschwanz and the Schwalbenschwanz. Goddamn German names, they are long. My sister is German and I still don't know how to pronounce them. So okay, right-hander, keep it in 5th gear. Lift a little bit, maybe brake a little bit, keep it in 5th. And then immediately, once you exit the corner, you have to kind of sacrifice the exit of this corner and keep it on the right side, because we come to the corner before mini carousel, and this is where many people will end up on the sand trap, on the gravel, and they will end up losing a lot of time, even beating the car into the wall, and it's an annoying corner. Why? Because it's tighter than you think. So 3rd gear, keep it on the insides. It's really difficult to get the car to turn in here. You just have to really force it to turn in, as you can see on my wheel input there, almost 90 degrees to the left. And on the throttle early, because while it is a tight corner, you can get on the throttle early once you get it to turn in. And since it's right the wave, 2nd gear, mini carousel. Keep it all the way to the left. Many people clip this corner, kinda like take some of the camber and then just go on the exit early, like exit the camber early. Do not do that. Keep it just like in the real carousel, keep it on the curbing on the camber right to the exit. You will just see green in the delta bar and your lap time will move. You can lose almost half a second if you exit the cambering too early. Then the final 2 corners. 4th gear, lift a little bit, go on the throttle early. You can notice my setup. This might not be the case with your setup, but my setup is really unsettled there. So I just try to right away, lift a little bit here, and you're going to the back straight. Now, Lotus 79 and the car bottoming out. I want to talk about the back straight, because it's somewhere where a lot of people actually, and funnily enough, lose a lot of time. And I did that at first too. You come out and you can see the long dotting straight right ahead of you. And you're thinking, okay, time to relax, maybe drink some water, you know, do whatever, talk with your buddies, you know, discuss strategies, look at the gaps, whatever. Maybe look for an overtaking opportunity, drafting the car in front of you. But what you really got to keep in mind for the level fault at this hole is that keep it between the lines. Line, the track. I use the 2nd line from the left, or the middle line at first. Then, once you come to the extension when the lines are more shallow, I switch to the 2nd line or before, and keep it between the lines all the way to the straight. Now, you might be asking, why are you not all the way to the right? Because there's more bumps in turn. There's also more bumps to the inside line, and I found this one to be perhaps the fastest line of them all. I don't know, I haven't tested them all, but I use this one because it's just something I'm used to. Nürburgring is really easy in this car, just keep it all the way to the inside and switch to the first line. Like this. Lines end, okay, time to get back to the middle of the track. And this is something I want to talk about. The last corner, the last chicane before you come to the Hohenrhein, before you come to the 90-degree right-hander and to another lap. Many people brake here too early or too late because you'll be coming really fast after a really long straight. So naturally you want to brake as late as possible to save all the time that's possible, or if you're somewhat experienced, done a couple of laps at this track, done it before, you're braking earlier than you think because of your experience from this track, from Gran Turismo or Assetto Corsa or even the original Grand Prix Legends. Do not do that. You brake here. Look, the track color changes. You come to the first left-hander and the right-hander full throttle. Then you wait until the color of the track changes and brake at the end of it. Fourth, third, second, and all the way to first. You can cut it if you want to, it's not that bad. I don't cut it that much. And then just keep it on first gear here. Do not change to second gear because you cannot go full throttle here, and there is no point going full throttle here because you have to brake really soon anyway. So just keep it on first gear for the next right-hander and the last corner of the track. Now, normally it will be a straightforward right-hander, but it's a really tight one, and you can see the intimidating wall on the right-hand side, the edge of the wall. You don't want to hit that, especially as it is the last corner, nor do you want to go wide. So many people take it a bit too slowly and a bit too carefully, and that's fine because it's not an important corner, but they will end up losing maybe a couple of tenths there. This is some corner many people don't practice, because right at the end of the lap, you just wanna, end the lap, bank the lap, so to speak, and go to another lap. Instead, you wanna brake kinda in a straight line, aim for the wall. Look how close I'm to it, but I will not hit it. Don't leave much gap to the wall. And for the love of all that is holy, go on the throttle early, like this. And then just aim for the good exit, and to another lap we go. Like that. That was a 6:09.649. It's a sub 6:10 lap, and it's really on the money. I think it will be a top 10, top 5 lap once we come to the Sunday hot splits. So it's a good lap, and if you follow my instructions, I think most of the drivers will be able to find a couple of 5 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds, just by following the instructions, following the lines that I take, and following the guidelines, and really taking time to learn the track. And be brave. That is the most important part, especially for the part after the carousel that we just talked about. Be really brave. Most of the corners are faster than you would think. Okay, so let's take a look at the that last part again at full speed. Okay, this concludes the last part of the video, but before I end this video, I want to just say a couple of things to keep in mind. I hope, and I sincerely hope, that this video helps someone to become faster. If you have any questions, anything you want to ask about me, about the video, about this track, about driving this car, about my computer specs, about my racing specs, about the seat I use, about my shoe size, then ask. Leave a comment below on the YouTube comment section. You can also find me on the iRacing forums on the Lotus 79 section. This video will be posted there as well. You can find me on various places, usually sitting at my home and doing stupid videos or sim racing because I have no life. But in any case, do not be afraid to ask any questions, that's my point. Do not be afraid to leave feedback, positive or negative feedback. I will appreciate it, and I do these videos for you, for everyone to become a better driver, to enjoy, to entertain themselves, or to watch over a cup of coffee and a bowl of cereals, or a toast, whatever. So, and a few things, also don't be afraid to practice this track a lot. Because even though I can make these videos of me doing hot laps, of me teaching you how to drive this track, of someone else teaching you how to drive this track, we could get Tapani or Gernot Fletcher to teach you how to drive this track. But in the end, it's you who has to do the job of actually learning it to become better. And don't just think that these guys like Gernot Fletcher and Tapani Linnoluoto and Kalle Ruokola and Antti Lepistö and others, they are really fast drivers in their own right. They're really good. And some of them are what you call alien drivers. But they are not a myth. They are not a legend. You can challenge these guys if you just learn, take the time and learn to become a better driver. It's just all you need is to learn the proper way of practicing, in that you always have to try and find your limit and find the fastest time around the track as possible. Learn the car, learn how it behaves on the edge, so it won't surprise you when you get on the edge in a race situation, and learn to become better. Don't be afraid to get a little bit cocky, in a sense that you start to aim for different people's lap times. Don't be afraid to try and get to that top spot in the next practice session. Do not be afraid to try and get faster. It will not consume you. And to become a better driver, you just need to practice. There is no real secret to it. Of course, some people are just born or raised with more talent than the others. That is a fact. But through practice, determination, you can be there. And in the same way, through practice and determination, just driving laps, lap after lap after lap, maybe modifying the setup to fit your needs, but most importantly, lap after lap after lap, you can become a better driver at the Nordschleife. Do not be afraid of the track. Treat it with respect. Tread carefully, but don't be afraid. That's the way you can find that lap time that will really improve your standings towards the end of the race. Okay, so I worded that really badly and I'm sorry for it. But what I'm trying to say here is that once you practice more, you will also become faster that way. So don't be afraid to practice more. And also, learning this track in this car is a really important experience to learning it in any other car, because it's a fast car, it's a car that really hates curbs, so you will learn not to use the curbs too much. It's a different thing in a GT car where you have to use some curbs, but once you learn the fast lines without using the curbs, then you can just, take a little bit of extra when you use those curbs. So alright, I think that's about concludes it. Again, any questions, feel free to ask them. And good luck in the weekend hot splits, good luck especially on a Sunday in this kind of field race. And hopefully I get to do this video soon and see you on track. Goodbye.